You want to hear something crazy? My clients have made hundreds of millions of dollars in the market, and in this video, I'm going to reveal exactly how to make money from trading so fast it feels illegal. My name's Dan. I'm a trading, high performance, and mindset coach, and I work with 6 and 7-figure traders, helping them scale to earn generational wealth while they're still young enough to enjoy it. So let's get into the video. So, the first way to make money trading so fast it feels illegal is understanding probabilities. But let me explain this because it's probably not what you think. Imagine you're looking at a setup. You've tried it 10 times and it worked 5 of those times. How confident should you be that it's actually a 50% win rate? Well, if you use basic probability theory, you might be surprised. Here's the truth. With a simple size of just 10 trades, 5 winners, you can be about 95% confident that the true win rate is somewhere between 19% and 81%. Just look at that spread. You basically know nothing. Now, what about 100 trades? Let's say your setup worked 50 times out of 100. Well, now you can be 95% sure that your win rate's somewhere between 40 and 60%. Much tighter, right? And here's where it gets interesting. Let's say this trade is a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. And even if your win rate is only 40%, what does the math actually look like? Well, 60% of the time you lose, say, 1,000, which would be 60,000, and 40% of the time you win 3,000, so 120,000. So your net profit would be $60,000 on 100 trades, or $600 per trade. Now imagine how much more money you'd risk in scenario 2 compared to scenario 1. In scenario 1, you don't even know if you're profitable. Could be an amazing setup, or you could be lighting money on fire. But let me take it a step further. Imagine in both scenarios, you now lose 4 trades in a row. In scenario 1, this is a disaster. You might cut the trade entirely because now you've gone from 5 out of 10 winners to 5 out of 14. You might slash your position sizing, tinker your process. It's endless. But in scenario 2, with a sample size of 100 trades, you know your setup works about 50% of the time. So the odds of losing 4 in a row is about 6.25%, which means that you'll have a bad run like this approximately 6 times every 100 trades. It's expected. So what happens? Trader 2 shrugs it off. He knows the maths. He knows that randomness of the market isn't a personal attack on his character. So here's the bottom line. The first way to make money so fast it feels legal is to possess a money printing machine. But a profitable setup is only truly a money-making machine if you have cast iron conviction. And that conviction comes from having a 95% confidence that your edge is real. All your mental game issues, could be fear, doubt, the tilt, will get so much better if you have crystal clear understanding of what your edge is. Now that we've covered probabilities, there's one more mindset shift that will massively accelerate your earnings. And honestly, when you get this right, it's like watching money flow into your account on autopilot. So here's what I see all the time. Traders spend days analyzing a setup. They'll stare at charts, second guessing themselves, waiting for just one more confirmation. Then they're agonizingly slow when it comes to pulling the trigger. But as soon as that moment actually comes, they expect instant results. If it doesn't move in their favor within an hour, then they're stressed. After 2 losing trades, they're convinced the setup is broken and they have it completely backwards. Think of a pro basketball player at the free throw line. They don't stand there for 5 minutes analyzing arcs and angles. They step up and shoot, fast and confident. If they miss 2 or 3, they don't melt down. They know they've got thousands of reps. They know they shoot 85% and they trust the process. Top traders act the same way. When an A setup appears, they execute quickly. Then they go into total zen over the outcome. No P&L checks every 5 minutes. No panic after a routine loss. They let the edges play out over hundreds of trades. Here's where the illegal part comes in. Most traders are trapped in this backwards pattern. Slow to act, fast to react emotionally. They miss opportunities because they're overthinking. Then they sabotage the ones they do take because they can't handle normal drawdowns. When you flip the script, you're essentially profiting from everyone else's emotional mistakes. And when they're hesitating, you're capturing the opportunity. While they're panicking, you're staying calm and letting your edge play out. Let me give you a real example. One of my clients had a breakout strategy with a solid 55% win rate. He also had a 2.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio, but he kept missing trades because he'd wait for extra confirmation. When he did enter, he'd exit at the first sign of trouble. We made one change: execute within 60 seconds of seeing the setup, set his stop, and breathe. His returns doubled in 3 months. Same strategy, same market, different mindset. The impatience with action meant that he caught the move from the beginning. The patience with results meant he let his winners run and didn't get shaken out by normal market noise. So here's the takeaway. Speeding trading isn't about how fast you click buttons. It is about how quickly you can act on high probability opportunities and how long you can stay calm while the probabilities play out. When you combine crystal clear conviction from understanding your edge with this mindset flip, something magical happens. You're capturing opportunities that others miss. You're staying in trades while others panic. You're letting the math work while others are fighting against it. And that's when trading starts to feel illegal because you're operating on a completely different level than 95% of traders out there. All right, now here's where things get really powerful. We've talked about understanding your edge and flipping the action result equation. But there's one more thing that separates traders who make life-changing money from those who stay stuck. The third way to make money so fast it feels illegal. First, let me ask you something. Would you rather be right or rich? Because here's the brutal truth. I've watched traders blow six-figure accounts because they couldn't admit they were wrong. They'd enter a trade, it would immediately move against them, and instead of cutting it, they'd hold on. Why? Because closing that trade means admitting they made a mistake. Their ego literally costs them everything. And here's where the top traders do things differently. They admit they're wrong as soon as possible. The moment the trade invalidates their thesis, boom, they're out. Zero hesitation, zero attachment, zero drama. And here's the crazy part. They don't feel bad about it. They don't beat themselves up. They don't question their entire system. They just say, okay, that one didn't work. Next trade. Imagine being a surgeon. If the problem's not where you expected, do you keep doing the surgery, cutting in the wrong place to save face? No, you adapt. That's exactly how elite traders operate. Their ego isn't in the trade, their process is. Let me tell you about one of my clients. We'll call him Marcus. Smart guy, worked hard, had a solid edge, but he was bleeding money. Why? At school, he'd been the straightest of straight A students, and now as a trader, every losing trade felt like a personal attack on his intelligence. He told losers way too long, trying to prove his analysis was right. He'd even add to losing positions, convinced the market would eventually see things his way. His ego was writing checks his account couldn't cash. We made one simple rule. If the trade moves against you and it hits your stop, you have to say out loud, I was wrong, before you can take another trade. He hated it at first, but something shifted. That simple phrase, I was wrong, helped him disconnect his identity from the outcome. Suddenly losing trades weren't personal failures. They were just data points. His win rate didn't change. His strategy didn't change, but his account grew 180% in just 6 months. And here's why this feels illegal. When everyone else is married to their position, fighting the market, doubling down on losers, you're cutting losers in seconds and moving on. You're preserving capital. You stay flexible and you let the market tell you what's happening instead of forcing your narrative on it. It's like you have a cheat code that everyone can see but refuses to use because it hurts their pride. The market doesn't care about your analysis. It doesn't care how much research you did or how smart you are. It doesn't care that you really thought that this was going to work. The market just is. And here's the beautiful irony. When you stop needing to be right, you start being right much more often. Why? Because you're adapting to reality instead of fighting it. You're taking small losses quickly and letting winners run. You're making decisions based on what is, not on what you think or want it to be. Your ego wants to prove the market wrong. Your bank account wants you to be humble. Choose the bank account every time. When you can admit you're wrong faster than anyone else, cut losers with zero emotional baggage, and move on to the next opportunity without carrying that baggage with you, that's when money starts to flow so fast it feels unfair. Because while everyone else is stuck in losing positions, protecting their ego, you're already 3 trades ahead. Capture the next opportunity. That's the power of losing your ego and keeping your money. But all these lessons won't work unless you let go of the negative programming and beliefs many traders spend their whole career with, totally unaware. So watch this video next, where I teach you how to reprogram your mind and start thinking like a 7-figure trader. I'll see you there.